The moment the Skeleton King saw the shadow warriors before him and heard our hero's command destroy them all at once, he instantly unsheathed his sword. With a terrifying surge of force, he unleashed the god-slaying skill, launching a devastating strike toward the shadow warrior ahead, and the instant the attack landed, the enemy was completely obliterated. Then the Skeleton King immediately opened his mouth and began forming the Elemental Riot skill. As soon as the skill was completed, he released a blast of overwhelming energy at another shadow warrior in front of him, and in a single violent eruption, the shadow warriors on the other side were destroyed as well. In this way, the Skeleton King continued relentlessly slaughtering every shadow warrior standing before him. Meanwhile, the other skeleton soldiers had already charged into battle. Using the charge skill, the skeleton horsemen rushed forward at full speed, crashing directly into the ranks of shadow warriors and cutting them down without mercy. The skeleton warriors, empowered by the elemental buffs granted by the Lick General, were tearing through the shadow warriors in front of them. Some unleashed lightning strikes to erase their enemies, while others burned down the approaching shadow warriors with flames. One after another, every skeleton warrior used different elemental attacks to annihilate the shadow warriors before them. Watching this scene from afar, our hero smiled and said with calm confidence, "The trial of the second origin skill doesn't seem that dangerous after all." On the other side, the senior old man was utterly stunned as he watched countless shadow warriors being destroyed. Seeing our hero's power, he became nervous with disbelief and thought in shock. How is this possible? What kind of monster is this boy? Can he really slaughter all 100,000 soldiers? The senior old man was burning with fury. His rage was so intense that cracks began spreading through the very space where the battle was taking place. Seeing this, our hero smiled and said mockingly, "You can't attack me directly, so this is the only way you can vent your emotions. Looks like I've passed this round of the trial. That old fellow is really angry." The moment our hero said this, the primal rune symbol in his hand suddenly began to glow, releasing powerful energy from within. A blood source appeared before him, and seeing it, our hero said with certainty, "Just as I expected, it has arrived." The instant the blood source touched our hero's body, overwhelming energy erupted from him, and immediately a notification related to the second primal rune appeared before him. Your Strong Army skill has been upgraded. Strong Army consumes soul power, and for 5 minutes, the user and all summons gain a 200% increase to base attributes, while all attacks deal an additional 500% damage. The extent of attribute enhancement is only limited by the user's own soul level. While the skill remains active, killing enemies allows harvesting enemy souls, replenishing soul power consumption, and raising the user's soul level. As soon as our hero's primal rune was upgraded, he began automatically teleporting out of the battle space. Seeing this happen, he muttered in surprise, "So once the origin rune upgrades, the trial ends as well?" In the next instant, our hero was teleported out of that space and arrived in the secret realm. As soon as he looked at the scene before him, he said in disbelief, "I'm back. This trial not only upgraded 2 runes, but my soul has grown much stronger as well." As our hero was saying this, a faint scent of tea suddenly reached him. Confused, he turned his head and thought, "That's the smell of tea." But the moment he looked behind him, he saw an old man seated inside a hut. Seeing him, our hero immediately began thinking seriously. That old man? No, something's different. He holds no hostility toward me. Seeing our hero there, the old man smiled warmly and beckoned him over, saying, "Come, sit here and drink tea with me." Hearing the senior's words, our hero quickly lowered his head respectfully and said, "It is an honor to meet you, senior." Then, following the senior's invitation, our hero entered the hut and lifted a cup of tea to drink. But the moment he raised the cup and inhaled its aroma, he froze in shock and said in astonishment, "This tea, its fragrance is extraordinary, and it even seems to strengthen my soul a little. Even teacher Meng Anwan's tea cannot compare to this." The senior took a sip of tea and calmly said to our hero, "Little one, I know your heart is filled with questions. The old man you encountered is called Gui Fu. I assigned him to oversee the trial space." Hearing this, our hero grew serious and thought, It seems this old senior is the true supreme existence capable of burying countless experts with a mere wave of his hand. I can tell Ghost Husband has always been trying to imitate this old senior. But why did Ghost Husband want to kill me? Then the senior looked at our hero and said, "The fact that you passed the trial proves your ability. I can answer one question for you." Hearing this, our hero became completely serious and asked, "Senior, this junior wishes to know, why did Ghost Husband want to kill me?" The moment our hero asked that question, the senior quietly placed his teacup on the table without giving any response. Our hero watched him in confusion, unable to understand why the senior had suddenly fallen silent, but he said nothing. Then he quickly lifted the teapot and began pouring tea into the cup. As our hero filled the cup, the senior raised it again, took a sip, and said with grave seriousness, "Since I have already promised you, this old man shall clear your doubts." Then he began explaining everything to our hero. You already know the relationship between origin skills and the blood of the origin bird, don't you? Whether it is primal runes, origin skills, or primordial skills, all of them ultimately come from the bloodline of the origin bird. When someone masters only one origin skill, the impact is not too great. But if one masters multiple origin skills, his voice grew even more serious as he looked at our hero and declared, "Then there is a possibility they may fuse with one another and return to the ancestral source." Our hero listened to every word with complete focus, visibly shocked by what he was hearing, while the senior continued speaking. Return to the ancestral source, recreate the origin bird's bloodline, and once again condense the 9 primordial skills. It is not nearly as simple as you imagine. Origin skills are merely fragments of fragments from the origin bird's bloodline. To think such fragments alone could recreate the origin bird's bloodline is nothing but creating something from nothing, pure fantasy. Then, looking at our hero with a solemn gaze, the senior continued, "Although recreating the origin bird's bloodline is impossible, there is still a chance to master primordial skills. With only a single origin skill, the difficulty is immense, nearly impossible. But if one possesses multiple origin skills, verifying each other, fusing them, comprehending them together, then there is hope." Hearing this, our hero became serious as well and asked in confusion, "But why would Ghost Husband want me dead because of even this slight possibility?" At those words, the senior raised his hand and held up 2 fingers before our hero. "This old man has already answered one question. That is a second question." Hearing that, our hero looked at the senior with unwavering seriousness and said, "Since I have already stepped onto this path, I will never turn back. Even if Ghost Husband wants to kill me, then I will only become stronger, strong enough that even he will have no choice but to look up at me." The senior lifted his teacup again and smiled faintly, whispering, "You can still be taught." The moment he said those words, he raised his hand toward our hero and began teleporting him away. In a single instant, our hero was sent out of the secret realm and returned once more to the meteor continent. The moment he arrived through teleportation, our hero looked around in disbelief and said, "I have returned to meteor continent?" Meanwhile, after sending our hero away, the senior looked into space and said coldly, Ghost Husband, some loopholes in the rules are not for you to exploit as you please. This time I have given only a small punishment. If there is a next time, you will be reduced to ashes." The moment those words fell, powerful thunder struck directly upon Gui Fu, the other senior who had been trying to kill our hero. After punishing Gui Fu, the senior sitting inside the hut softly said, "Little one, I hope you do not disappoint me." Meanwhile, back on Meteor Continent, our hero reflected seriously on this journey and said, "This trip into the secret realm has allowed me to learn many ancient secrets. But there are still many things I cannot understand or see clearly. I wonder if Antares knows." Then, without hesitation, he took Antares' dragon scale out from his inventory. As he teleported away, he said decisively, "Forget overthinking it. Why wonder so much when I can just go ask him directly?"